Do not call me again. You are dead to him. That is the first thing I heard when I rang his phone from a dirt pull-off by a pine cabin I rented to say yes to the man I loved. Instead of a proposal, I got a threat. Instead of a kiss, silence. They told me never to contact him, that I was disgusting for what I did, and they would call the police if I tried. By sunset, his best friends were in my hallway, boxing my life like a crime scene. By midnight, my boyfriend of 3 years, my almost fiancé, was a ghost with a heartbeat. And before you ask, yes, I found out the truth. Yes, it was uglier than cheating, and no, I did not take him back. Me, female, 28 years old. Boyfriend, male, 29 years old. Let's call him Mason. His best friends, Kayla and Drew, both 29 years old, a matched set since middle school, ride or dies who finished each other's sentences. I am the person who alphabetizes spice jars and apologizes to furniture when I bump into it. I do not do drama. So when I say I planned a proposal, yes, I proposed, I mean spreadsheets, 3 vendor quotes for candles, and a playlist named Yes. Mason loves hiking, and I love being alive. So the compromise was a little A-frame cabin just off the highway, all fern and fog, and a deck that smelled like wet cedar. I hid the Rin, silver, carved with waves, in a tin of matcha because he never touches my tea. I looped in Kayla because she knows his weak spots. Make him think he's leading, she said, over an anise cookie at a bistro with chipped cups. She suggested brunch at a fancy new place out by the state park, code for where Drew would slow walk Mason past the trailhead so I could get there first. She even sent me dress suggestions for myself. Flowy, but not bridal, and made a note to bring Mason's favorite hoodie in case it got cold. She was the architect, Drew the chauffeur, me the idiot with a ring tin and a Polaroid camera. I left that Saturday with Tasha, my friend, my witness, my bringer of snacks and chaos, while Kayla and Drew picked up Mason. We stashed dahlias in mason jars. I taped a handwritten sign under the porch light, "Ask me." I could hear the creak, a trickle like ice in a glass. When we finished, we ate string cheese and cold grapes on the steps, and Tasha wiped my mascara smudges with the corner of a paper napkin. The plan was perfect. Until it was not. An hour after they left our apartment, I texted, "You close?" No response. 10 minutes later, Tasha called Drew. Nothing. She called Kayla. Straight to voicemail. I laughed because I was nervous and because it felt like the start of a rom-com. Runaway brunch, goofy detour, a surprise that would land at the exact second the golden light hit the trees. I called Mason. The first ring flinched to silence. The second ring clicked, and Kayla's voice came on, syrup poured over a knife. "Do not call Mason again," she said. "You are dead to him." "What is going on?" I asked, the words stumbling out. "Is he okay? Did something happen?" A 2-second pause, as if she were deciding which theater mask to put on. Then, "You know what you did. Don't make this worse. You do not get to ruin his life and then trap him with some stunt." Trap him? With a proposal? Can I talk to Mason? "Lose this number," she said, and hung up. For a minute, I watched a moth batter itself against the porch light. Tasha took my phone gently out of my hand, like it was a bird with a broken wing. She tried calling from her number. "Kayla again. Final warning," she told Tasha, "or we're calling the police." The trees around us whispered. I swear the creak got louder. We packed the dahlias quietly. On the way back, the highway billboards shouted for injury lawyers and beef jerky. In the passenger seat, I breathed in the smell of the ring tin, grassy, sweet, and felt ridiculous for noticing. When we turned onto our block, there they were, Kayla and Drew, on the stoop like bouncers. Cardboard boxes. Drew would not look at me. Kayla's eyeliner was perfect, not a smudge in sight. "Where are you going with those?" I asked, my voice thin. Tasha slid in beside me, a small wall. Kayla said, "Collecting Mason's things. He is too traumatized to come back here. Do not contact him. Do not contact us." For what? I asked. What did I do? You know. I did not. And the not knowing is a rot that eats through sleep. Tasha stayed that night. She made chamomile tea that tasted like warm paper and handed me her childhood stuffed rabbit because sometimes grief is stupid and small. We tried calling Mason's parents. His mother's voice was careful. We heard from Kayla, she said. We will call Mason. She called me back to report a text. Can't talk. We'll call soon. The next morning, I walked our neighborhood like a bad detective. The sun came up orange, the city smelled like bakery yeast and bus exhaust, and every couple I passed was hand in hand and unbearably smug. My phone was a dead fish in my pocket. I opened my laptop to write an email to Mason, the kind of email that includes stupid details like the color of the napkins, because words make me feel like I exist. The cursor blinked like a metronome. That afternoon, Drew texted, "Picking up more things." I wrote back, "Not without Mason or his parents." 30 seconds later, Kayla, "We will call the police for harassment." The word police did something chemical to my chest. Tasha took the phone and texted Mason's mom. "If Mason needs his things, come with him. We're not letting Kayla inventory her own narrative in our living room." "My brother lives 10 minutes from Mason's parents," Tasha said. "We will loop him in. We are not alone." "I feel crazy," I said, and wiped a smear of flour off the counter that was definitely not there. The apartment smelled like last night's garlic. The ring tin looked obscene in the sunlight. That evening, my upstairs neighbor, Mrs. Alvarez, 63 years old, always in slippers, noticed our door ajar and brought flan. "Men who vanish have rehearsed," she said, spooning caramel onto paper plates. "They practice in little ways, not calling back, forgetting to say sorry. Check the rehearsals." "Is cheating the ultimate sign of disrespect?" I asked her out loud, the question popping up like an uninvited ad, because somewhere in my head the word had been hissing all day. "Disrespect is a decision," she said. "Cheating is just a method." On day 2, Tasha said the sentence that changed everything. "Let's retrace their route." She is an event planner, which means she believes receipts are a kind of diary. We built a timeline with coffee rings on a legal pad. Mason left at 11:10 a.m. with Kayla and Drew. There should have been a gas receipt around noon. There should have been a toll. There should have been anything. There was nothing. We drove the same 35 minutes past the billboard of a smiling dentist and pulled into the new, fancy brunch place Kayla had sold me on. Closed for renovations. A paper sign hung crookedly in the window. The parking lot was a chalkboard of ghost tire marks. I walked the perimeter like a cop and then laughed because I am not a cop. I am a woman who brought a roll of floral washi tape to decorate a proposal. "Let's check the cabin," Tasha said. The A-frame sat quiet, our empty jars like little throats. We gathered the flowers. On the porch, I found a footprint smudged in dust. Drew's boots leave a starburst pattern. He had been here. We had missed them. My stomach flipped. The plaque by the door read Trail Hollow, and for a second, the name felt like a prophecy. Tasha climbed the deck rail to peek toward the creek. "Oh," she said, "you are not going to like this." Halfway down the slope, caught on a tangle of blackberry bramble, hung a white garment bag like a ghost with a zipper mouth. It was the garment bag I had given to Kayla to bring just in case Mason wanted to wear his navy blazer. Inside was a hoodie, his favorite, still smelling like him, peppermint gum and laundry detergent. No blazer, no note, just the hoodie, abandoned like a decoy. Back at the car, I realized my hands were shaking, so I gripped the steering wheel until my knuckles hurt. "Would you want closure from the cheater or walk away?" I said into the quiet, sounding like some late-night radio host asking strangers to confess. "Closure is a door they keep locked to watch you knock," Tasha said. "Let's go knock somewhere else." We went to Mason's parents. His mom answered in slippers. His dad stood behind her like a guard dog who forgot how to bark. Kayla says you're harassing, his mom said, apologetically, like she was asking me to take off my shoes. I plan to propose, I said, holding up the ring tin like an exhibit. He was supposed to meet me. He never came. Kayla threatened me. I have no idea why I am on trial. His mother's eyes got wet. We have not seen him, she whispered, and the world tilted. Space from what? Tasha asked, because she is braver than me. From lies, his mother said, and that is when I knew there were screenshots. Midpoint came like a door slamming. The thing about lies is how they love theater. Screenshots, timestamps, arrows drawn in red. That night, Tasha's brother, who knows a guy who knows a phone store, called to say he had heard whispers that Kayla had been in 2 days earlier, asking whether deleted messages could be recovered from a cheating girlfriend's phone. The clerk said no, not with the phone, but she bought a new case and left angry. The next morning, the group chat I had with Mason and Tasha, our three-way meme lifeline, lit up for the first time. A single photo, forwarded, then unsent so quickly my screen only half loaded it. But that was enough. The top half showed my iMessage thread with a contact named R, my ex, years ago. The bottom half cut off before the words, but I could see the blue bubble had started with last night. I had not texted my ex over a year, and the last time it was to say happy engagement. My stomach burned. Tasha whistled. Someone made a collage of your worst possible reality? Could she have spoofed it? I asked. The word spoofed sat silly in my mouth like a party favor. She could have faked screenshots with any free app, Tasha said. She could have DM'd them to Mason at brunch like a magician pulling scarves from her sleeve. I thought of Kayla's 2-second pauses, the sunglasses she wore indoors, how she called me babe, like a borrowed intimacy. I thought of Drew's silence, like clean snow covering a mess. We needed proof. We needed something not curated by Kayla's performance. We needed Mason, and Mason was missing behind a curtain of people who protected him. So I went looking for someone whose story was messier and lonelier than mine. I found him at the deli, of all places. The owner, Mr. Iani, 80 if a day, hands like maps, watched me buy 4 lemonades. You look like somebody threw a wedding and forgot to invite the groom, he said. He told me, cutting provolone thin as lace, I proposed once. She said yes. Next day, she vanished. 22 years later, she died. Never knew why. He shrugged, a knife of a gesture. People disappear different ways. Some turn around, some walk backward. Do you think cheaters ever truly regret it? I asked, and he smiled like he had found a coin in a pocket he forgot. They regret the mess, not the meal, he said. You hungry? Kayla finally slipped. It was not cinematic. It was not a confrontation under rain. It was a notification. A friend of a friend sent Tasha a story Kayla had posted and then deleted, a boomerang of champagne bubbles clinking with the caption, "Saved a life today." The timestamp was our proposal day. The location tag, off for the story, was still on for a selfie she posted an hour later. Same dress, same pearls, a bathroom with black hex tiles. Tasha zoomed in on the mirror's corner. There was a poster of the bar's trivia night, Wednesday, the week before. Not the brunch spot. Another bar entirely, downtown. We traced Kayla's bubble trail like 2 bored detectives. She had spent the afternoon helping a friend move. A friend whose Instagram showed her at a pottery class that day. Drew's feed offered a blurry shot of a pool table at a dive where phones are supposed to stay in pockets. And then, because the universe loves petty, Drew's Venmo was public. He had paid someone named Ray Ray with a note, "Thanks for the receipts." Receipts. Not gas receipts, not brunch, screenshots. I printed everything, like a lawyer prepping an opening statement, and slid it into a blue folder because blue feels like truth. Then I called Mason's mother and asked for 10 minutes with all of us. Me, Mason if he would come, both parents, Kayla, and Drew. We owe each other one room, I said. She agreed, because there is a breed of mother who knows when a story smells wrong. We met in their dining room, where the table always smells like lemon oil and Sunday roast. Kayla arrived with a tote bag, and Drew with a jaw set like concrete. Mason came last. He looked like someone had replaced his face with a photograph and forgot to cut out eye holes. He did not sit next to me. "Kayla," I said politely, and then I put the blue folder on the table and slid it into the center. "We can play show and tell." She rolled her eyes. "This is pathetic." Mason cleared his throat. "Just let her speak." "Last Saturday," I said, "you were not at brunch. You were at Reardon's, downtown." I put down the printed selfie. "The garment bag was left at the cabin like a breadcrumb, not because of any emergency." I put down a photo of the bramble-snagged bag. "And the screenshots you sent Mason," Kayla flinched at the word, "were made with a generator. The font is wrong, the bubble spacing is wrong, and Drew paid someone for the receipts on Venmo." Drew turned red from collar to forehead. Kayla laughed. "So what?" she said. "If she did not cheat then, she would have later. People like her collect attention like stamps." Mason finally looked at me then, and something in his face cracked. Kayla said, he started, and trailed off. He pulled his phone out, thumb trembling. He opened a folder in his photos, screenshots of me allegedly texting my ex, me allegedly canceling plans, me allegedly writing, "We should not tell him yet." The dates were plausible. The punctuation was not. Should I have listened to the red flags? I asked myself out loud, because for months, Kayla had been narrating little doubts about me like bedtime stories. Mason's mother leaned forward, palms flat. "This is insanity," she said. "You are not jury. You are friends. Act like it." Kayla looked bored. "He needed saving," she said. "I saved him." "From what?" I asked, my voice clean for the first time in days. "From being loved?" Here's the part where some people want me to say we reconciled, that the truth stitched up the week and we went back to the cabin and took a Polaroid by the creek with a caption like, "Through the fire." That is a nice poster, but posters curl at the edges. Instead, I told the truth. I said to Mason, "You did not check with me. You did not ask for my words. You let someone else narrate my life to you. You knew me 3 years and believed me for 3 screenshots." I slid the ring tin across the table. It made a soft clink. "I cannot marry someone who disappears on command." Mason's eyes filled, but his apology was thin, the kind of blanket that does not reach your toes. "I did not know what to do," he said. "She said you would spin it. She said you were dangerous with words." He looked at Kayla like a kid who realizes the magician is just a guy with pockets. "You are not a victim," I said quietly. "You are a volunteer." Drew finally spoke. "We just wanted you away from her," he told Mason. "You change when you are in love. You forget us." "Love expands a table," Mason's mother said flatly. "If your chairs cannot fit, build a bigger table." Kayla scoffed. "He is not a piece of furniture." Then, to me, "We will tell everyone what you tried to pull." "Tell them," I said, and it was not bravado. It was exhaustion. "Tell them I rented a cabin, put flowers by a porch light, and asked a man I loved to say yes." My hands stopped shaking. I stood. I am done knocking on a locked door. As I left, Mrs. Alvarez's flan wrapped in foil waited on our counter, a sweet, ridiculous mercy. I ate it with a fork straight from the pan, caramel sticking to my teeth, and I cried so hard my nose ran. Then I slept. Not well, but I slept. 2 weeks later, there were still dishes in the sink and a dried dahlia petal stuck to the dog-eared corner of my grocery list. Tasha sent me videos of sea otters holding hands so they would not drift apart in their sleep, and I cried again, because of course I did. Mason texted once, "Can we talk?" I did not answer. "Do you think trust can ever be rebuilt?" I asked the ceiling in the blue hour, and maybe that question is a prayer, and maybe it is a warning label. What I did do was this. I met Mr. Iani for coffee. He told me his vanished fiance's favorite song and how he still cannot listen to it. We sat under a cafe umbrella that flapped like a tired bird and watched a kid drop his muffin and cry like the world ended. I wrote a letter to Mason that I did not send. It was 3 pages of the things I would have said if he had asked me before he believed someone else. I ended it with, "I loved you. I did not cheat. I will not audition for a part in my own life." I changed the coat on the door and put the ring tin back in the cupboard with the tea, where it will slowly smell like ordinary mornings again. Tasha and I bought a ridiculous lamp shaped like a mushroom because sometimes joy is an art project. And Kayla? She posted cryptic quotes about loyalty on Instagram for a while. Drew stopped liking them. The other day, I saw Mason across a crosswalk. He looked thinner. He lifted his hand, a half wave, that asked for a past we do not get to have. I lifted mine back, small, a benediction for the boy who trusted the wrong voice. "He did not cheat," I said to Tasha as we waited for the light. "He hid." That became my own little one-liner. Another one I keep in my pocket. Silence is an answer. Because it is. When the light changed, I walked forward. The garlic smell from the shawarma truck made me hungry for the first time in weeks. I ordered extra pickles. I bit in, lemon and salt cutting through everything sticky. And that is when it finally landed. The quiet punch I had been dodging since the cabin, since the moth, since the hoodie snagged on the BlackBerry. I could have said yes to a man who would always answer to someone else. I could have built a life on a rumor. I threw away the blue folder. I kept the Polaroid camera. The creek will still be there. So will the porch light. And that is when I realized he never chose me.